count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast blood.
What's up, gang? Welcome to the G.R.I.N.D. Simon Arias here. Get ready, it's a new day. What's up, gang? Welcome to another episode of the G.R.I.N.D. Get ready, it's a new day. Simon and Big Perm in the house.
What's up? What up?
We've been on an interview kick, so Perm got some questions, and I didn't get the chance to practice none of this, so this is all off the cuff.
Just off the cuff.
Let it rip.
Let's go. So now we got today's segment, sacrifices, all right? So describe sacrifice for me.
Sacrifice is to me, to invest. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes, I got so much tatted on me now, I don't even know if you know, but I got sacrifice tatted over on this arm.
Of course I know.
So sacrifice to me is, Vasu always says sacrifice creates opportunity.
Yep.
So it's an investment because investments create future opportunities. And so I think people hear sacrifice, just like they hear the word discipline, they already start getting negative thoughts about, I got to sacrifice. But sacrifice means to give up something. That's what really sacrifice is. And you could sacrifice positive or you could sacrifice negative. I tell people that, either you sacrifice for what you want or what you want becomes the sacrifice. You know what I'm saying?
Say that again.
So either you sacrifice for what you want, which means you give up some stuff to get what you want, or you don't give up some stuff to get what you want, and then what you want becomes the sacrifice. Because I'll sacrifice that because I don't get to have it.
Right.
So it's pick your poison. Would you rather sacrifice for what you want or not sacrifice for what you want and just make what you really want be the sacrifice because you can't get it? And so, but either way, we got to sacrifice. That's what people got to understand. You're going to sacrifice one way or the other.
Right.
Pick your hard. You know what I mean? That's why life is hard. Praise the Lord. We've had a chance to have a peek into different lives. Yeah. You know what I mean? But being dead broke is hard as shit. Hard. And being rich is hard.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, which hard would you choose? Which one do you want? So to me, sacrifice described is to give up something, period. But you need to look at the positive side of sacrifice and basically just cross the word out and say to invest. That's to me what sacrifice is.
What's one of the biggest sacrifices that you made?
I've had to sacrifice so much, man. I've had to, man, what a good question. And there was no prep for this.
Nah, it's off the dome.
So I think first is the sacrifice I've had to make was to die to my old self. And sometimes people say, well, that's just the way I am. That's just the way I am. I think that's a cop-out. That I don't know if people realize the words that they're saying to themselves, but we got to be changing. You got to evolve. You know what I mean? It's change or die. So I had to die to my old self. You know what my old self was. People don't even, when I tell people about my old self, they don't believe it. Nobody believes me that wasn't there. Like, I can't even see you doing something like that. I can't even see you being like that. You're so polite. I had to die to my old self and consistently try to die to my old self. So, I'm not single anymore. I'm married.
Right.
That's not a sacrifice. That's an investment. But there's some things that need to be sacrificed. You know what I mean? I'm a parent now. That's a sacrifice, but that's an investment. But people can see some of the things that I have to sacrifice. You know what I mean? But in order to have that. But really, when I look at I sacrifice longer sleep. What things have we sacrificed? I think if I had to boil it down to one, it was time to build this business. My 20s, I sacrificed, and I'm still sacrificing, but man, my 20s, when I started in this business, I worked 7 days a week, almost every week, and 12 hours a day. So I sacrificed. There wasn't a lot of clubs that I wasn't going to the club. You know what I mean? And it wasn't that I didn't want to go. It just, I sacrificed that so I could do that. I wasn't dating a whole bunch of women in my 20s. As a young man, especially me, You know that's a sacrifice, brother.
That's a sacrifice.
Come on, can we keep it real?
Yeah,
that was a sacrifice.
Sure.
You know me.
Oh yeah,
the
for
old
sure,
me,
for
right?
sure.
So that's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
The time that it required to give up chasing women, chasing the club, spending a lot of money, I sacrificed. You know, if you look at where I lived, my third or fourth year in this business, I was in I had roommates, and I didn't have to. I was making bank. I had 3 roommates. The rent was $2,000 a month. We lived in a decent spot, so it was $500 a month. Not that bad to live in a sweet spot.
Right.
That was a sacrifice. I didn't need to do that. I had a car that was 6 years old. Didn't have to do that. Then we moved out when me and Natalie got into an apartment, and it was a one car garage, nice place, couple bedrooms, but not crazy good for a couple of years. That was a sacrifice, you know, of money, of what, so I could stack dough and save money. So I sacrificed all that in order. So, oh, now you're building a house. Now you must be getting bread. No, we've been getting bread. We just were saving it the whole time. So I had to sacrifice the cars I wanted, the house that I really wanted, the stuff that I really wanted. But down the road, those things came.
Boom, boom. Let's see here. You already said that one. So when people hear sacrifice, they think they have to give up something. Is that always the case? So they feel like, man, if I'm in here, man, I feel like I can't, I can't do nothing. I got to give this up to be here. Now, is that the case?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it's always the case. You can't. To go up, it is.
Yep.
To give up, you got to go. To go up, you got to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to get in shape, I got to give up ice cream.
Boom.
If I want to be married, I got to give up other women.
Right.
If I want to be happily married, I got to give up my ego and my pride. If I want to grow my business, I got to give up money that I could have right now to invest back into the business. If I want to grow my business, I got to put more time into it right now so I could get more time down the road. Yes, the answer is yes. You have to give up something in order to go up. And so that's what I want to encourage the listeners to think about. Like, what do you really want? And what are you really willing to give up in order to get there? And so I think sometimes people draw hard lines to sell themselves. So they say, well, I'm not willing to give up my family. Well, neither am I. But you may need to give up some time. And I was talking to Coach Tress about, like, all right, you want to be a national championship coach. Guess how many weekends a year his coaching staff had off? Take a guess.
2.
8. Guess how many weekends there are in a year? 52. So out of 52 weekends coaching, they had 8 weekends off. That's it. People work a weekend and it's like you think they died. Like, oh God, can't believe it. You know what I mean? 8 weekends is what they had off. That means out of 52 weeks, that's what is that? Times that's 1 every 2 months, maybe?
Yep.
You know, 1 weekend off every 2 months would be 6. So almost a little bit more than 1 every 2 months. 1 weekend off every 2 months. And he talked about how he feels like he learned work ethic from his dad. He said there's some things in life that are just mostly caught more than they're taught. When I look at my work ethic, I watch my mom, single mom, work 2-3 jobs, welfare, worked out of that, worked night school, grind. My grandmother, it's just, I learned that from, you can't tell somebody to work hard and they don't see you working hard.
That's right.
So you have to teach people. That's why I tell, they're like, when are you going to retire? I want my kids to see that this silver spoon was built,
right,
not handed.
Right.
And so I want them to see me grind. And so we were talking about the work ethic that his kids have and that he has from watching his dad and his kids have from watching him on what it really requires to make anything of yourself in America. If they see it easy on you and they try to apply that to the rest of the world, it's not going to work.
Not going to work.
So what do I want to give to my kids that last? I want them to see how hard you got to work in order to make some shit happen. Because that ain't changing. That ain't going to change.
Never.
And so, but I'm not willing to give up my marriage. That's why we got a date night tonight. I'm not willing to give up being a dad, but people put these hard lines to sell themselves on. I'm not willing to give up my, nobody said you got to give up being a dad.
Right.
But you need to make a sacrifice. It doesn't mean you don't see him at all.
Right.
He said his dad wanted to go to get his doctorate degree. Trustle's dad.
Right.
He said he had to go do some residency somewhere to be a doctor. He was gone for 6 months or 12 months to get his doctorate thing. And he said for Christmas, he said, I remember what each of us got for Christmas, and it wasn't a lot. Like, it was small. He said, but we were all proud because as a family, we knew we sacrificed to get daddy, you know what I mean? What he needed to do. And so it's understanding that, like, yeah, bro, like, I might have to put in some evenings. I might need to get on the road to go see an office for 4 or 5 days, but I can still come back and see my kids. And so I think people got to understand that they don't have to give up every single thing. And you don't need to put up in your own mind that you're doing something bad. You got to write down on paper, what do I want for my family? And what am I willing to give up in order to get it? Because the less that you're willing to give up, the less you're going to be gaining. And so you just got to be real with yourself of, what do I really want for my family? If I don't want that much, then I don't have to give up that much. But you can't want a lot and not want to give up a lot, because it's give up to go up.
Got to.
Sacrifice.
Shout out to Vasu, of course.
Bang.
Vasu always says, sacrifice creates opportunity. What does that mean to you?
I'm sorry I went on this tangent. I didn't see none of the questions.
You were already going.
I'm already ripping on.
That's all right, but I had it. But we had to give a shout out to Vasu.
It means exactly what we just got done talking about, man. That it's an investment.
Yeah.
It's an investment. It creates opportunities for other people. You know what I mean? And once you get yourself right, if you want to know how to stay motivated, other than the nice things for your heart, I want to do for others. But if you have a kid, like, I've watched people have kids and say that they got worse because they had kids. My motivation went to a whole nother planet when I had kids.
Absolutely. I
was already motivated.
I agree on that 100.
But the minute that I saw Sienna for the first time, I'm like, it's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to go.
I ain't trying to leave them with nothing.
Right.
We got to go get something done. We got to go make something here that we can leave behind. A legacy or a liability. And so sacrifice creates opportunity. Who do you want to create an opportunity for? That requires sacrifice. That's what you got to tell yourself. And so I'm not doing it to them. I'm doing it for them. And so it's like anything else. You could do too much of something and it's not good for you.
Right.
So too much sacrifice is no good, because you lose the very thing that you're trying to sacrifice for if you lost your whole family over it.
That's true.
That's not good.
No.
Not enough sacrifice is no good, because I got a bunch of time with my family. Now we can't do shit. I can't progress the damn family because I'm sitting here looking at you the whole damn time. I didn't go to work.
Right.
So it's that balance between, but the balance is really not balanced, because if everybody in America works 40 hours a week, how do I plan to get ahead if I work the same amount of hours as everybody else?
Can't.
You can, but it's difficult.
Hard. You can't. It's hard.
I've never been smart enough. I've never been big enough. I've never been good enough. I didn't have a dad that gave me. I didn't have a head start. So for me, mine was work. That's how I was going to get ahead of everybody else. That's how I was going to pass up people that had 2 good parents and paid for their college and all of this stuff. It was going to be working more than everybody else. That's why. But what people don't understand is a lot of times, man, sacrifice is just temporary. Like, I don't have to sacrifice as much time as I used to anymore, but I'm left with the result and the life that's been built. So people don't understand, sometimes sacrifice to create opportunity is just temporary sacrifice to live the rest of your life the way that you want to live. It's
temporary.
Would you give up 5 years to live the next 50 years and pass on a legacy or not? You know what I mean? That's the difference. And really giving up 5 years, it's not like you got to leave for 5 years. Like, this is another thing that keeps shit in perspective for me, is I go back, and I don't want to shout the names out, but I go back to close friends of ours that we know a bunch, but the ones that I'm talking about, because you drove me to go visit them in prison for 5 years. Didn't get to see their kids. Weren't building a business. They weren't coming out building something. So if they could do 5 years in prison behind bars and still come out and own a business and be a dad, why can I not invest 5 years of my life and get to sleep in my house every damn day and see my kids on the weekends and not compare it to, I got it better than this person, but now I built something for these people? It's all perspective. This is a passionate subject. Hopefully I'm not over the top for people, but this is a passionate one for me. I bleed this.
Do you think every successful man, which I'm sure, had to sacrifice something at some point in time in their life to get to where they want to be at?
Yes, every single one. I don't want to beat a dead horse.
Nope.
Every single one of everyone.
What do you think a pro athlete sacrificed the most? Since you used to play, but a pro athlete, like, what do you think their sacrifices could be or would be?
I think time.
Same thing, time.
Same stuff. We had Terrell Edmonds in here the other day.
TD, shout out to him.
We were just talking about Tressel. You know what I mean? He wasn't the pro athlete, but he was a coach of pro athletes. We had Shazier in here, and he talked about meeting Tomlin at 6 o'clock in the morning and going all day. You know what I mean? And stuff. So I think they give up time. And guess how many weekends they work? Half the year.
Half the year, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want to be a pro athlete. Okay, well, you have a 16-game football season.
Yeah.
How about LeBron?
Yeah.
Football got it easier than basketball. Basketball, they got multiple games a week and they're flying all over the country. Football, you got 16 games. 8 of them are at the casa.
Yeah.
8 of them are away. So you got 8 times, but you work every weekend. 16, but then you got now it's 17, and you got a preseason, so that's 22. Now, if you make the playoffs and win the Super Bowl, that's 27, 28 weeks, because you get a week off in between that for the Super Bowl. So you're working more than half of the year, you're working weekends, and that don't even count whatever. I'm sure they got to sign an autograph for see a kid in the hospital or something. So you're probably, to be a pro athlete, you're sacrificing, in the football realm, in baseball, all of it, you're probably sacrificing half to 3/4 of your weekends to be a pro athlete. So, but everyone wants to be a pro athlete, though. This is what it means by this. What I mean by perspective, dog. This is what people got to check themselves on mentally. Like, you want to make pro athlete money? Do what pro athletes do.
Boom.
Work some weekends. Work half the weekends and see where your life is at 6 months from today, 2 years from today, 4 years from today. You know what I mean? Encourage yourself on that perspective of the way that you're looking at things and who you're doing it for and why you're doing those things. But just understand there is no way. And it's not a hard line of, I don't want to sacrifice because I don't want to get a divorce. Look, man, I know a lot of people. It's like, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. I know some people that lost their wife because they wasn't ambitious enough. Yep. Wife like, I don't want to deal with this lazy cat no more. Right. His ass won't go to work.
Right.
So every person that is home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day, there's no statistic that shows me marriages are more successful 90% of the time if you're home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They would have it if that was the truth. There is no such thing. It's all on the person. It's all on that individual. Can you make it all go around? You absolutely can make it all go around, but then you got to plan it, organize it, stick to it, discipline. You know what I mean? And the sacrifice needs to be no bullshit.
Right.
So if you are running low on time to get the job done, like, I don't got time to be just bullshitting around.
No bullshit.
It's either work or family. It's either work or this. And if I sacrifice some stuff for myself, jiu-jitsu and stuff, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning most of the time. Because I don't want to take it from, I ain't taking it from them. They're sleeping. Yeah. Taking it from me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sure. How does having to sacrifice humble you?
Well, I think the biggest thing that humbles me is realizing that every year I look back and realize that I'm better now than I was a year ago. So I look at, like, man, I wasn't as good as I thought I was 3 years ago. Right. And if I knew what I knew now, we would have crushed it more 3 years ago. I think being married humbles me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because you're a partner.
Yep.
In business, when you have a partner, it's like a marriage, and it's hard to have a partnership because it's now not everything I want. It's what the hell do we want?
Right, exactly.
And it's give and take. That's humbling. That's humbling. You know what I mean? Because if you want to make any relationship work, she got to humble herself to give me what I want sometimes, or do what I want. Exactly. And so it's like, it's humbling for everybody to go to the next level. Those things humble. And then I'm telling you, man, I've had to be humble. This is a big one. I've had to be humble in our business for others because they don't have enough humility themselves. So if my ego went to where I wanted it to go, or where it was naturally at, and they already got a big ego, we would clash and be gone.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's for everybody, because we're better as a business, you know, and they're better, you know, because of us. We're better because of them. But I know where we would be regardless. And it's looking at it and saying, man, I've had to just humble myself and say, look, what is it going to cost you, bro, other than your pride, to just let it roll? Give it 4 or 5 years, give it 2-3 years. Let these people mature, bro. It ain't a big deal. It just hurts your ego.
Yeah.
It hurts your pride a little bit, drives you crazy. But give them 5, give them 10, give them 2, give them 3. And then you'll look back, and maybe they'll look back one day and say, man, I appreciate how you did that, and how much it had to take for you to be patient. And then they do it for somebody else.
Right.
And then they do it for somebody else. Just like you look back at older people or your parents and say, man, you know, I would have slapped the shit out of my old self, or, you know what I mean? Or why was my mother so patient with me? Or why did that person never give up on me? Or, you know, or whatever. Down the road, you realize it, but that's been one of the major ones that was, you know, been humbling
for you.
For me, was just to force myself to humble myself in the business.
Last but not least, you being a friend of mine, what would you say I should sacrifice more?
You?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all throw this at me and I didn't even get a chance to think. Okay. What do I think you should sacrifice more? Yeah. I think you already started to sacrifice the food because you lost 100 pounds. Okay, so I
definitely did that.
Too much more, you ain't gonna be big.
Yeah,
Perm
he like,
no
bro,
more.
you gotta slow down.
You're gonna be medium
size. He trying to make
Perm.
me eat now. He like, no, eat something.
I don't want you to get too small.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're my boy, and we roll together. So I get a free bodyguard looking because people you're big, scary looking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're 400 pounds, you real scary looking. Now 300 pounds with a smile, you kind of scary looking. You go to 200, brother.
That's it.
That's it. You know what I mean? So I would say don't sacrifice the food.
Yeah.
I think, you know, what did I tell you need to sacrifice? This, I'm going to give you 2 of them. What do you think you need to sacrifice? What did I tell you need to sacrifice in the car?
Black and Miles.
I said you got to sacrifice them Black and Miles, dog. I think you got to sacrifice them Black and Miles, bro. And I think you're already hard working and stuff. I think we just got to keep sacrificing hard work and sacrifice the and come move up to Pittsburgh, like I told you. That'd be the next one. I think. Yep.
Well, that's it, man. We wrapped it up today. Mr. Arias.
Why don't you close it out today for us?
On the sacrifice.
Close it out.
Great job. You know what I'm saying? Let's get ready. It's a new day.
Count money, man. Stack riches. Trying told him I'm a beast, bud.